Hi, I'm Jen Ziegler and I'm a real estate agent in Kitchener-Waterloo, and I'm here to tell you a little bit today about how to price your home. Now, obviously, if you're listening to this and you live in Vermont, I literally have no idea, but I will tell you, I'm an hour outside of Toronto. I've done a lot of sales close to in and around the GTA. So if we picture Toronto as any major city, it kind of gives you a gauge of if you're going to be an hour outside of a major city like Vancouver, Toronto, or places in the States, of course, New York. There's a residual effect of value when you're closer to a city. So if the city has tons of amenities and it's a busy city with a lot of income coming into the property, like Toronto, which is a major hub of lots of different companies, then obviously it helps to grow the value of the surrounding locations. So it's taken time, because in Kitchener-Waterloo, I'm an hour outside of Toronto. So it has taken us years to sort of feel the residual effects of people being willing to take an hour drive and then get a better price in terms of real estate. But it does help to be close to a major component. So think about that. If you're like, I'm thinking of buying in California, okay, so can you buy in the outskirts? And you'll notice the closer you are, the more expensive it is, and the further you get away, the cheaper or more inexpensive it is. And that's just sort of how real estate works, because it's all about the location. Bringing it back to the specifics of my location, and I think things that would tie into anything really, is when it comes to pricing, you want to do a few things. Bring in 3 different realtors. Ask them all their price. Tell them what they think and ask them to provide comps as to why they think that it's worth that value. Now, if you have a unique property, there may not be comparables, but there's different things that you can trade off and different properties that you can look at that would compare. So say your property is worth 1.3 million. Let's look at what else is on the market at 1.3 million. Do we have a good shot against them? Are you different, but would people see, okay, well, they have a barn, but this house has like a $250,000 kitchen. Okay, so maybe there's pluses and minuses. So obviously, if you want a barn, is very different than if you want a high-end upgraded kitchen. But at least if you can kind of see a gauge of trade-offs, it's really important to be able to see what that different value can give you in different locations. When it comes to pricing your house, the last thing you want to do is price yourself right out of the market. So yes, we always dump a lot of money into it. But it's not like you buy your house for 400 and then through 10 years you dump in 250, your house is worth 650 plus the growth standard that the market has grown. So now it's worth 850. If it was that easy, I literally don't think I would have a job. And I think it would take away, I would have a job, but I'm just saying it shows you that there's a lot of different factors when it comes to pricing your home. Make sure you're picking someone that feels comfortable too about the value and getting that value. So we were talking about how sometimes an agent will be way over. We'll ask them why they're way over. Hey Jen, like 3 other agents gave me 500 and you said 600. Are you just trying to get the listing, or are you confident that you can get 600, and why did you give me that number? So me, for example, last week I sold a property where 2 other agents came in. One told them that they would get 525 tops and the other one told them that they would get 550. I looked at the property, I looked at the comparables and decided that there was no comparable that was really going to gauge for the amount of work and upgrades they put into their home. So I told them confidently that I thought they could get 640. So when they came back to me and said, well, the other agent said this, and I was like, well, politely said, well, I'm better. Just kidding. I said, well, I feel confident about that price for these following reasons. You've done a lot of upgrades, and the way I want to market this is to a family that's going to love the big garage, that's going to love the big lot, that's going to love these finishes, going to love that it's clean, going to love all these things. Like, your home is so well cared for. I just believe that someone will pay the premium for that. And I'm not actually sure why you had 2 other agents that so grossly undervalued your home, to be completely honest. So having that conversation and having a relationship with your agent where you can ask, like, why are you so expensive? Can you show me some other sales that you've done? Were you the highest one? Did you get where you wanted? Those kind of questions. I personally like to be possibly a little bit higher if I need to be. And then if they get a little bit less, that's fine. But at least I don't feel like they sold it right away and they lost money, because every single penny that people take out of their homes brings them into the next step of their life. So whether they're retiring, whether they're buying another house, whether this money is going to their kids, I would never sleep at night if I ever felt like somebody didn't get every penny that they could out of a property, and it's really important to me that people do. And I think sometimes that gets lost in the industry, and people are always trying to maybe find the cheapest realtor or get the best deal. No, get someone that literally cares about that fact. And there is a lot of realtors out there that 100% care about you and care about you getting every single penny that you can. As a young mom with 2 little kids, you know, I understand how expensive life can be. And I would just never want anyone not to get $10,000 or $20,000 because I would ever put myself in a position where I needed to sell a house quick, or I didn't do the research and the preliminary work to make sure that you got that kind of money. For example, with that home, like that was $115,000. Like that is crazy amount of money to risk. And I would like to point out that we ended up selling that house still for almost $45,000 over asking, which made me feel amazing, which was awesome. And they were so great and now are total advocates of my business, which makes me so happy. But I think that when you're very confident, you put a lot of work in, you really believe in the outcome for people, and then you make them believe it, and that home came off as the confidence that it deserved and the price point it deserved, and they got it. And it makes me happy. And I hope that they take that additional $40,000 or $155,000, I guess if you were to go from the original price, and they spend it on whatever the heck they want. I mean, they could buy a wicked cottage with that money. They could just spend it all in Vegas. I don't know if you can spend that much. I'm sure you can spend that much in Vegas, but it is your money to spend. Make sure you also know if there's a few little things that you can do to maybe get that much value. So a lot of times people will bring me in and say, Jen, if we finish this bathroom, which will cost us $3,000, will we get an extra $10,000? Because then it is worth it because there's a $7,000 spread. These are really good questions to ask, and I'll tell people, yes, do this, no, do this, don't do this. So another house I had, the woman had tried to sell her house for about $300,000 2 years before. And so then the market had gotten busier. She brought me in and the house needed a lot of updating. So I brought in a stager that I work with. We walked through the whole property and we said, here are the things that we need to do. So the work that she was requesting that this woman do was around $12,000. So my seller calls me and is like, Jen, are you sure? Are you confident that if I spend $12,000, I'm going to get it back? And I said, yes, I'm 100% confident. If you have the $12,000, you're able to do it because I want you to get as much money as possible. I'm like, 2 years ago, you're trying to sell it at $300, you weren't getting anything. Spend the $12,000. The market is busier. I'm confident it will help us push and market it the way I want to market it. We put that house on the market at $400,000. It sold for $445,000. So I feel like she's super jacked that she spent $12,000. But it's about that experience and knowing whether or not the area is going to support it, the layout of the home will support it, and the comparables will support it. And if it's going to make that much of an impact, that makes a difference. So sometimes people will say, like, should we finish it? No, stop. Let's just sell it this way. It really depends, and it is all very individual, and it all does tie into the price point and the price point where I feel you're confident you're going to get. So those are my tips when it comes to pricing. Please, please make sure you get a few opinions. If you're in Kitchener-Waterloo, Cambridge, Guelph, surrounding areas, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to come through your house and give you my opinions on your home and what I think would help maximize its value. And I super appreciate you listening to me. Remember to always follow your heart in real estate. Take care.